Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are setting up my bullet journal for the second half of 2025. I've been gone for a little bit. I needed a little bit of a break and to regroup into what I'm doing with my bullet journal. If you're wondering why I'm setting up a new bullet journal for the year of 2025, I had an incident with my first notebook. As some of you know, I have cats. I have three, namely, and one of them decided to vomit smack on top of my cover of the previous notebook. And so I love that notebook. It will still be in use, but since the cover is made out of linen, the stain spread quite a little bit. I was not able to remove it. In fact, while trying to remove the stain spread further, and so the notebook is looking a little bit scary right now. I will still be using it because we're not wasting a perfectly good notebook in this house. The inside of the notebook is fine. It's like halfway through being used, so we still have some usage left out of that. But I'll just use that as a draft notebook where I test out ideas, markers, color palettes, things like that, and I'll use this one as my bullet journal for the time being. This one is from Archer and Olive. It's a B5, as always. I only use B5 notebooks. If you're wondering if this looks bigger than most notebooks, it is bigger. Most people use an A5. I use a B5. It just gives me some more room to play around with, which I personally enjoy. And I have been struggling with my bullet journaling because I've been at a war with myself. I have this dichotomy between drawn out themes and collage themes. I love both of them, and that's the struggle. But I find that having a YouTube channel, I place this weird expectation in my head that for some reason I think that I need to deserve people liking my videos, and if my videos are of collage themes, they're not as deserving of people liking my videos, because I feel like I'm cheating in a way. It's like the hustle, the hustle culture of it. I feel like if I'm drawing out my theme, then I did it all by myself, and it's somehow more worthy. Does that make sense? Which is silly. It's absolutely silly because I'm being creative both ways. And sure, like the ingredients are kind of already made when I'm doing a collage, but I still have to put them together and make something that's beautiful and that makes sense out of them. And so I've been struggling with myself because it can be very exhausting to always be coming up with themes to draw out. As much as I love drawing, do not get me wrong, I do. It takes a lot more creative juices to come up with the themes. It's not even just the drawing out, it's the coming up with the themes, because sometimes you have an idea of something that you want to have as a theme, but you don't really know how to draw it out, so you need to like be working around with sketches and making it a style that is your own. And then there's the struggle with like finding the correct markers, the correct medium to draw it out in, because then I have an idea in my mind, but maybe it doesn't work with markers. It worked better with watercolors, but I'm not great at watercolors, nor do I want to use them in my bullet journal. Things like that. It's a lot more mental gymnastics, and I'm at a point in my life where I need to find a good balance between my everyday work, my YouTube channel, my like house organizing, like chores, having a life, you know. So I really need to regain some time from somewhere, and doing collage themes absolutely wholeheartedly helps with that. It's just so much more time that I gain back, and not only do I gain back, but I actually gain the time to make more videos for YouTube, which I absolutely want to do. I don't want to feel burnt out by just making one video. I want to enjoy myself while I make my videos, because I wholeheartedly love making content, and I want to enjoy the process, not feel like it's taking up all of my time, still be creative, still come up with beautiful things that feel like myself, you know. So this helps. And so I had to go around that weird mental roadblock of, I feel like it's a bit of an imposter syndrome in a way, because you feel like it's not worthy of recognition if you don't do it the perfect way. And honestly, what even is the perfect way? There's no perfect way for anything. So yeah, a little bit of a hard conversation there. I feel like a lot of us struggle with imposter syndrome, and it can manifest in a lot of ways and in a lot of weird ways. Sometimes it's not a full-blown imposter syndrome and you feel like everything that you do in your life you're faking it and people just, I feel like sometimes it can manifest in little different ways, and it's good to sometimes acknowledge them and be like, oh wait, you're actually sneaking up on me. So yes, that's what's going on. Talking about the actual theme in of itself, this is easily one of my favorite layouts that I've come up with, and so I'm so happy that I steered a bit more into collages this notebook. And I don't know if I'll just be doing collages until the end of the year. I might come up with some like themes that I want to draw out, but maybe a bit more minimalistic. But I'm happy to start off this notebook with some beautiful collages. It was so fun to make, and I feel like as much as I love both. Again, I love both drawing and collages, but there's this weird magic when it comes to collages, because when it comes to drawing out my theme, I absolutely work on it quite a bit until I have a draft to start filming. But with collages, I go into it because I can't actually replicate the entire collage, but I will plan it out. But then there's this magic when I start filming, which is where, okay, I had this idea to put this element and this together. It worked in my head. It actually does not work on paper. So we need to put something in. Wait, this actually looks better. Wait, let's do this. And so I have this initial vision of what it'll look like, and then it kind of transforms and becomes a thing of its own. It's like it gains life of its own, which is so much fun. It's absolutely so much fun. For this theme, I had the idea of like the text pages and the butterflies, and that was about it. And I just knew that I wanted to have those and like some tearing because I wanted texture. And I knew that I wanted to use a beige marker and typewriter style font. But I had not thought of the burning of the pages. I had not thought of the frame. The typewriter like font, I was going to write it out by hand. It was not going to be stamped on. And there's this big 2025, which is still a remnant of that. And that big 2025, I will be getting rid of it soon. You'll see that. But it just gained a life of its own. So when I was when I was gluing down the text paper, I realized that it was looking a bit bland and it needed something. And I just looked at the candle on my desk. I was like, what if I burned the paper? And so I started doing the burnt edges. And then I had the butterflies. And then while I was getting out the washi tape for the butterflies, I looked at the frame. This has a name for it. I do not remember the name for random bits of paper that you can use in collages. This has a name. I do not remember. I'm sorry. But I saw the frames like, oh, this could maybe be a moment. And I have these puffs that are adhesive. It's like a 3D sticker. It's this like square foam adhesive thingy that you can use to stick things down with them being raised up from the paper. So it gives us this really beautiful 3D look. I think it reflects a bit more in person than it does on camera, but it just looked so beautiful. And I have to say, I'm a bit of a I like to call it minimalist maximalist. I saw this concept for the first time in like this she's a content creator that does wedding dress videos. She once had like this sub genre of wedding dresses that she called like the minimalist maximalist, and it's like big puffy dresses, but they're super clean looking. I was like, oh, that's me. And so it's like I like beautiful intricate themes, but then something's gotta give. Like if I go all out with a busy intricate looking theme, then the layout itself needs to be very clean and very easy on the eye, because then it's just too overpowering, it's too overwhelming, things are competing with each other, and you actually just become overwhelmed rather than having a clean space to come into and organize your life, so yeah, I had to change that big 2025. It was too much. It was competing with the collage tabs So I decided to just go in and use my typewriter stamps. I ended up using these typewriter stamps instead of the actual typewriter font that I had manually drawn, because I was going to go over it with my fine liner, and I quickly realized that, you know what, the collage happened on its own and it needs to be reflecting the rest that is going on. So I needed to update what I was working on to line up everything. But yeah, with this future log spread, I already have the calendar that has some space underneath it so I can write out things that are happening. But you know how sometimes you have things that will be coming up in a few months, but you need to write down more information? This is what that is for, so that I have space at the beginning of the notebook to write it down. Whether it is like a concert that I'm going to, I need to know if like need to pick out an outfit, or if I'm going, I don't know, on a picnic, do I need to take food? If I am going on a birthday party, do I need to like bring a present or something, you know? Just sometimes you need more information than just something has happened, you know? I want to have that space in there to plan out appropriately. This is my memories spread. I used this in the first notebook that I set for 2025. This exact spread, actually, I've been using this for 2 years, maybe. It's this page on the right, sorry. The to spread page is memories. The table on the right is for important events. So I have, for each month of the year, personal and worldwide things that I want to write down just to keep track of what is going on. Personally, since the pandemic, I lost a big chunk of my time perception. I will struggle with understanding what happened in each month. Like, I'll forget if something happened in January or June, which it has absolutely nothing to do one month with the other, but I have a harder time placing what happened in the year. I don't know. It's just weird. It's probably a consequence of not being in school anymore. I feel like school really helped to keep track of what was happening in the year, because I could relate it to school. And since with work, I don't have that kind of time division, you know, it's harder to place. But yes, so on the left there, just a place to write down things that happened, or it's just like glue down some pictures, some, I don't know, concert tickets, cinema tickets, things that relate to beautiful memories that I want to keep track of and I want to preserve in time. And then on the right, just things as a whole, you know. I hope that makes sense. And yeah, really happy with how this turned out. I had very little space, but I still wanted to add some collage there on the side, so we went with a little bar of collage. Now going in with the final flip through, I am so happy with how this spread turned out. I'm so happy that I turned around and changed that big 2025. But actually, let me know, do you guys prefer this version or the first version? I personally prefer this one. I feel like it lets the butterfly collage page really shine. But let me know. I'd actually be really interested in knowing if you guys prefer the first one. This one is a lot easier on my eyes, so I prefer this. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. This allowed me to be super creative, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. It looks super clean, very productive, like straight down to business, but also really beautiful, and I love this. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, if you'll be taking some ideas into your own bullet journaling, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!